Hello, this is a short explanation on how to use the graph tool in C# in Visual Studio. I have created the Windows Form application and added two buttons. And now I want to add a chart. So I go to the toolbox and search for chart and then click enter. And then we can add a chart to our form. I can expand it a bit. And I want another kind of chart. So I just click once on it and go to the properties and find series and collection. And there I will have a button at the right and click on that button. And then I will find chart type and can change the chart type to line. And here we can also set lots of other properties. But I click OK. Now I click F7 to go to the code view. And here I have to add a namespace. I write using and system, Windows, forms, and data visualization and charting. And that is to be able to use different chart methods to manipulate the chart. And then I want to create two instance variables. And that I will do here. And I want to store X and Y coordinates that are going to be plotted on the chart. And I want to store X, Y coordinates to plot the values in the chart. And I will use list variables. And list is approximately the same as a one-dimensional array, but it's more flexible and easier to add values dynamically. So I will use one list for X values. This is the variable name, and one list for Y values. And both will be of data type double. I need to insert some data into these two lists so that I can plot the XY coordinates in the chart. And that I will do in the constructor. So I go to initial components and the next line, and here I add some values. So a list has a method named add. Its argument will be added into the list. So here I will have three coordinate pairs, 0, 1, 1, 3, and 10 and 3.5. Then I go to my form and double click on an empty area. And then we will have a method named form1_load. And that will be run as the first method when we start our program. And then I want to show the chart and plot the values we have added to the lists. And to do that, we write the name of the chart, chart1. If I go to properties in design view, then I will see that the name of the chart is chart1. And then we will reference the name of the series. And if I go to the design view again and see at properties and go to series, the collection, there I will find the name of my series, which is series 1. We send the arguments, the two lists, X values and Y values, to be bind to the chart. So now I can run my program, F5, and then I will see the three data are plotted. And if I want to be able to add a double value into the list, then I go to my code again, I go to design, double click on add double value, and I add a new pair of X, Y values, 3.5 and 4.5. And then I have to bind this new list of data now to the chart. I do that with the same statement as up here. And then I use chart1.invalidate, which invalidates the entire surface of the chart and causes the chart control to be redrawn. So now I can try to run it again, the F5 button, and I click add double value. And then I see my new value is added to the chart. And you could instead retrieve data from the database and add them to the list and then plot afterwards. It is also possible to use a time scale as the x-axis. Then I will insert some other values. So I just comment these two lines and use these instead. The y value is the same, but now the x values is of date time data type instead of double. Then I will add some other kinds of data than these. So I just comment these also. and instead insert some new data with date time along the x-axis as x values in the list, and the y values still double values. Date time will convert this to a date time. So 2016 is the year, and here is the month and the day and the hour and minutes and seconds. So this is converted to a date time value. Now I have to comment this one to avoid error because we have to add a time value. And if I run my program, I will see this plot, but I see that I only have the month and the day and the year. So this is not very informative. So I have to do some configuration. So I close this. And here I will put in some statement. There's lots of statements that can be used and properties that can be set, but here are some of them. Here I have my chart 1, and the chart areas can be configured. Axis X, major grid, and here we can specify the line color, and I've now set the line color to red, both for the X axis and the Y axis. And I have this chart and series 1, which is the series we are drawing, and I also set the color of the line to be plotted to green. I will set the x-axis interval to 30 so that it's a new plot every 30 seconds. And I will use as time interval type minutes. And as a label style format, I will use hours, minutes, and seconds. And then we have to bind our data, the x and y values, to the chart with this data bind xy method. And then we can try to run it. I click the F5 button, and now I see that I have a time axis with 1300 and 1330. That was what I wanted, and it's red here, and it's a green line here. I can also, if I want to have some more precision here, I can close this and change 30 to 5 and run it again. And now we see that the intervals have changed. And maybe we want to add a time value also. Then I stop this one. I go to the design view and double click on add time value. And now I will add X value. That is a date time like the other was. And the Y value is still a double type, 4.5 here. And we have to bind the data after we have inserted this into the lists. And after that, I use the invalidate method to redraw the chart. So now I click the F5 button, have this one, and add time value to add the new value here. Then I see my new value added. And then you can experiment with other properties like adding axis titles, etc. to this diagram.